So once again, a very good evening to all present here. Now we all know that we have come to the end of that 3 days international conference on management cases. And yes, I would like to commence that this valedictory session by thanking all those who participated in this yearly conference and made it a success. It is actually heartening to see the enthusiasm to connect across different time zones with each one of you. And as this is the 10th year of ICMC, a big thanks to all the participants and special thanks to the conference partners also, University of Eastern Finland and University of South Florida. Despite the conference moving to virtual format due to COVID-19, the enthusiasm among the paper presenters that we have seen in last 2 days were actually felt the same way as we used to feel it during our physical sessions also. Thank you so much, each one of you. And I would especially like to thank Director Sir Dr. Chaturvedi, our Deputy Director Dr. Anupam Varma, who has actually provided us the relentless support to hold this conference. Very thankful to Professor Sahay for mentoring the team ICMC, and big thanks to Professor Dey, Professor Hana, Professor Sunil Mithas, and Professor Vile, the co-chairs of this conference, for making this event happen. And I would really fail in my responsibility if I don't thank the BIMTech IT staff and BIMTech students for their constant, tireless efforts to ensure the success of this flagship event of BIMTech. As in last 2 days, the all 12 sessions were completely managed by Professor Saloni, Miss Rupali, Professor Shraddha, Miss Riti, and Miss Survi with the support of BIMTech students. A big thanks to our young, enthusiastic students Sharath, Paridhi, Manvi, Mukul, and Nancy. They all are our PGDM first year students, and the support by them was excellent as last 2 days were well managed by them, and I believe our all presenter will also agree to this and join me in acknowledging the efforts made by the students and the session coordinators. Thank you so much, all of you. Now, as many of you had been the part of this conference from a long period of time, and you know that this conference was conceptualized by late Professor G.D. Sardana, a visionary and a source of inspiration and encouragement for many of us present here. And later on, the legacy is being carried on by Dr. A.K. Dey, who has taken the conference to another level. And to be very honest, I would like to share that myself and Dr. Shreya personally know about his bucket list for the ICMC and BIMTech Case Master Development Workshop, where he wants to take this conference forward to. Thank you so much, Professor Dey, for all the guidance and the support you have given to me and Shreya. Now, handing over the proceedings of this session, I would request Dr. Chaturvedi, Director BIMTech, to please share his views and announce the dates for ICMC 2021 and couple of more announcements. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. You know, I've just arrived from my native place to join this meeting.
Okay, sir.
I'm so happy and delighted that COVID has provided this opportunity to do it virtually. Had it not been the case, we would have been in the physical format and we would have organized this meeting face to face. But I think this experience has been very positive, and in spite of being different places, different time zone, we could meet each other, we could interact, and I congratulate Dr. Dey that he has carried forward the rich and great legacy of Dr. Sardana by not only maintaining the standards and norms set by him, but also taking the quality of overall quality of the conference to greater heights. I'm grateful personally to all those who have been lending their support to this conference for the last 10 years. Some of them have joined it 5 times, and their names I know. Harivansh is here, and Hanal Etmiki is here, and I know her from Professor Sardana's time, and they were all friends and comrades of Dr. Sardana, whom he trusted always, and whose trust with BIMTech I have been suggested to announce the dates for next conference. If it happens in physical format, we propose the dates December 2nd and 3rd, 2021. 2nd and 3rd December 2021, if it is held physical format, and if it is in the virtual format, circumstances compel us, then the dates will be December 3rd, 4th, and 5th, 2021. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Dr. Vinu Sharma, am I right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So these are the dates being proposed by the team of ICMC, led by Dr. Dey, and over to Dr. Vinu once again.
Thank you so much, sir. I would just like to add on to the few more announcements in addition to the dates as shared by sir. Like in physical format, we have planned for 2021 as 2nd and 3rd December. And if it happens in a virtual format, it's going to be on 3rd, 4th, and 5th December 2021. I would also like to mention about the prize money of the international case winners in this conference, as due to some international transfer deductions and other bank formalities, we are keeping the prize money of international awardees on hold until next ICMC. And we are also looking into all other possible options to transfer the prize money in the form of either a gift voucher to all of you. Very soon, we will come with a solution to this problem, which we are facing in transferring the amount to your bank account, because what we have learned from our bank formalities that the amount credited to the receiver's account will get actually very less in number because of the many bank deductions which happens due to the international transfer. So we are planning to come up with a solution of this so that is why taking the feedback and the consent from all the advisory council member of team ICMC from University of Eastern Finland, and University of South Florida and BIMTech, we all mutually decided to hold it till next ICMC conference. And another thing which I would also like to share is about your second case master development workshop, for which I'll be talking at the end of the session. Now, taking this session forward, and I would now request Professor Sahay to please invite the participants to share their experience and feedback for the ICMC 2020.
Thank you, Vinu. Good morning, good day, good evening, depending upon where you are sitting, in which time zone you are. Now, as ever, I mean, though we have always enjoyed, we have learned through these conferences, but we know that there is always scope for improvement, and we want to improve year on year. And that is what Professor Dey compels all of us, that I am not happy with this, it must go to the next level. And for that, we look forward to your suggestions, comments, ways how to improve it further, both academically, socially, intellectually. So I'd request anyone, I mean, the student, research scholar, or professor, or even our collaborators, please be generous and tell us more our shortcomings so that we can improve. We could remove and improve. Come on. If no one is
Cummings. This is Jackie Scrid with University of South Florida. It was a very good experience being my first time to see the types of questions you were asking to better inform and understand the sharing of the cases in a different format than maybe what I was anticipating. So I think going forward, it's helpful to me professionally to see how this works in an academic type conference. It's very fascinating experience for me. So I really appreciate it and all the effort you put together to make sure that this conference still went on. And I'm sure there was a huge undertaking. I just want to thank you.
Jacqueline, thank you for your sharing your experience, but anything for improvement?
No, I would like, I know one thing you mentioned was the interaction. It would be, not being in person, maybe something that would have engaged us. They're very short time frames for presentation, but to get to know one another, you could see where there are many of you that maybe have seen each other over the years, and for us newbies, to get to know you in some format, I don't know, some social hour or something would have been good too, maybe.
You are absolutely right. When we are in the physical format, apart from the formalized presentation and QA, you get whole day, whole evening to discuss, to improve your case for publication. Thank you very much, Jacqueline. I am seeing Mingwan she wants to speak something.
Oh, well, sir, thank you for giving me the opportunity. First of all, I come from University of South Florida. It's really a pleasure for me to participate this meeting, especially as a first-year student of DBA. After just 3-4 months joining the program, that we were writing the first case, and this is a really good learning, as Jackie mentioned. So I think a common thing is we often write things from the practitioner angle, and this is really good learning curve for us to learn how to write a case and do the research from the researcher perspective. And I really enjoy all these sessions and learning from different people. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Go on if you want to say something more.
No, I think it's really great learning experience for all of us. And I know it's very hard to organize such kind of sessions virtually, and especially consider different time zones. Overall, it's very good, and we feel a little that all our students in the USF will present nearly all at the same time. We cannot join different sessions. We have to choose one which is most close to our interest. So I hope next year won't be virtual again, but this is definitely a challenge to arrange the thing. If we can stagger the presenter in the same time zone a little bit, probably that's easier for us to try to join different sessions and get different angles of how they organize their cases. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mingwan. I saw Gary's hand raised. So the veteran Gary, he's veteran of all the conferences, and his suggestions are always very, very important, valuable. Yes. Gary.
First of all, the actual setup, the online setup, prior to the conference and especially during the conference was actually first rate. The actual format, the click on links, the follow-ups that were done by Dr. Veena and others throughout. It must have taken a lot of thinking through, but it just worked like clockwork. So that's my first positive. My second positive is that I felt the keynote speakers really added value in terms of the conference. My third point was the Forum for Collective Wisdom. The one that I chaired was just quality of the debate and quality of the questions being asked from the audience were just great. A couple of things that I do want to mention. I think it would have been right for people to have their cameras turned on during the sessions. I noticed that half the people were visible and half weren't. And my final point is that the ease of making payments and the fees. I went through a few times of trying to access and pay, and then I was sent the direct banking details and it just made a transfer straight away. But I think that caused a little bit in terms of twos and fro's. But overall, it was excellent. So well done.
Thanks, Gary. We shall take care of those hiccups. I'm saying John Walsh really is wanting to say something.
Yes, well, I would echo what Professor Gary had just said. I think it was really excellent throughout. I really enjoyed my time with you. I wish I could be there. Hopefully next year we'll be back together again. Like many of you, I spent the early part of this year teaching online, and although we do the best we can, it's really not the same as being in the same room face to face with our old friends and colleagues and so forth. I agree with Professor Gary in terms of the payment thing, it's a bit irritating, I have to admit. I would say another thing that I was co-chair of one session, if we could have had access to the papers a little earlier, I feel like I could have said something more useful to the speakers than I was able to do. But my general conclusion was that overall, given how difficult this subject was, how difficult the whole conference was to arrange, I'm sure Professor Sardana is smiling down on all of us and beaming with pleasure with what you have achieved. And I feel privileged and honored to be part of it. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Walsh. Thank you very much. Now let us hear with our keynote speakers how their papers were received, what questions they got. Arya.
Well, thank you. This has been my first experience of this ICMC conference, and thanks to Hannah, I have been introduced to the idea of this conference. One of the things, so I really appreciate having been invited to give the keynote address. Yes, surely. One of the things I was thinking that given the whole issue, actually two things. First, giving the thing that case study research could be, thematically, it could be a very wide range of topics and issues. So I'm not sure, but I'm just wondering if it would be something to think of to have maybe some more thematic conferences, or at least thematic streams, or, well, we have streams that have different topics, but still somehow a little bit more focused in terms of the theme. And the same, in a way, the same also goes in terms of the different methodologies. So although I'm not very well informed of the contents of all the presentations given in this conference now or earlier, but I would think that there is some more room for embracing a more broad, or embracing a broader methodological view on, different ways of gaining knowledge, especially gaining a scholarly knowledge in organizational cases. So these were probably my two sort of observations, maybe more some thematic approach, and then also more embracement of different methodologies.
Thank you, Professor Ropo. Your suggestions are very valuable. Of course, the sessions were thematic. The case presentation, different sessions were thematic, but Since the people come from so many areas, I'm not trying to defend, but you have given very valuable suggestions. It is up to Professor Day how he wants to shepherd, but the suggestions are very valuable. I will now go to Professor Mandy O'Neill. She also may have something similar on the methodological part. Also, probably I don't know if it runs for more days. Probably those things also could be considered. That one particular method you accommodate in one session. At the keynote level, probably we integrate everything and it becomes generic, which probably keynote speaker may not be very comfortable with or may not invite so many questions for discussion. So I go to Professor Mandy O'Neill.
Well, again, my perspective as a keynote is very limited, and also this is my first time. So maybe one piece of feedback.
That is why you could be more valuable.
Exactly. Well, one piece of feedback is that I'm in the U.S., so of course the time zones were very difficult, and I very much hope that in the future it is in person, because I think so much is lost when you're virtual and when you're 10 hours time difference away. So I think that, for everything I observed, it was incredibly well organized and really high quality, and the level of sort of the atmosphere that you created in the conference in terms of the participants is something that invites and encourages people to be active and to want to join more. So it seems like there was a group who kind of knows each other and has this history, and I think it was welcoming too. And I think that's something that is really the heart of a small conference, is as the community. And I think that the openness to feedback is something that is really quite astounding. For me, it was very new, all the topics. So I know my own area, but I think the topic, the methodologies, it was quite new and a bit different, I think, than the way we think about case methodology, at least in the way I'd been thinking about it. So I think one piece of suggestion might be for newcomers, almost a primer, or a sort of, seeing some things in advance, maybe seeing proceedings from previous conferences would help to orient a bit more to the conference, because I did feel a bit confused at times about like where I should be, what I should be doing, what were the expectations for, as a keynote, but I think as a participant too. So I think that would be really helpful for making newcomers feel even more encouraged and more emboldened to contribute, is to have maybe the previous history of the conference or the proceedings, or at least available to me, because if they were, I think I was sort of like, oh, I understand what it means to be a keynote, but I think there's this welcoming, deeper aspect to the conference that's very compelling, and I think would make a first-time person have an easier experience. So that's my one suggestion. But in general, incredibly well organized, and I feel like the level of attention and detail to each participant, I felt was really something that made me want to contribute in the future. So congratulations, and just very, very well organized, particularly considering so many time zones in so many countries. So thank you very much. And, I look forward to being helpful in the future.
Thank you, Mandy. In fact, to both of you, I would say, please come again and again and enrich us with your experience, knowledge, and all. Let me go to a few of the award winners. They must be a little disappointed, because in physical form, when you get the award, the certificate, the money, the recognition, there is some wow moments that must have been missing. So can I go to one of you, maybe Yuka or Sarah Com, your experiences, both uh, disappointments and
I think
happiness. Wow
Sarah is
moments.
not there. Shirley is there. If she wants to share her experience,
Okay.
Shirley Morejon is there.
So Shirley is there. She was in my session as well. Shirley, if you could.
It was her first time also, and she is also a recipient of Young Scholar
Oh,
Award.
great.
Yeah.
So Shirley, we are hoping your really comments, suggestions, feelings.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, we are.
Okay. Certainly for myself, it was really an incredible opportunity, and I found a great deal of value in my particular session. So thank you so much, Professor. I think some of the key learnings that I have was that, again, as a practitioner, my mind was always in the practitioner setting. This was the first time as a first-year DBA student, kind of forcing myself to think about it as if I were in a state of teaching the content or the results of the research that I had put together. So I found it actually very valuable that in my session, there was a lot of challenge as to how I would leverage this particular content in a setting as a professor. So I found that very valuable, and it kind of changed my perspective on the way I would take this particular case moving forward. I would say, in just from a feedback perspective, a lot of what I would have to say, I thought it was very well run, particularly for joining the sessions. The only challenge I found was more on the logistics part beforehand. So we were a bit confused on the dates. I think on the website, they had certain dates. So we kind of all blocked those dates off, and then we got updated dates. It was for the weekend. So we were all trying to adjust and figure out how to make sure that we could also be present for our peers in our cohort and attend their sessions. And that was really important for us to provide support for each other. So that would be my only feedback, is that we really wanted to be able to be in everyone's session and provide each other support, since this all was our first time. And certainly we wanted to, to really represent USF and to be in full support of our peer group.
Thank you, Shirley. You talked about you got great value. So could you elaborate on value that you got, academically mainly, or intellectually?
Yes. Again, I coming from a space where my experience has only been in the business world. A lot of the way I was approaching this case, as you guys might remember, at the first part, I said this would be a great case for a practitioner. And you both challenged me in the session saying, okay, well, if you were going to teach this session, where would this best be placed? And so it, quickly on the spot, I was thinking, okay, well, would this be an MBA? Would this be in finance? Would this be a great opportunity for really a session around leadership and development of a leader and how leaders address problems? And it really actually took me to a whole different place about where this case could go post this conference. So I'm really thankful for that learning just from that 20-minute session.
Okay, great. Thank you, Shirley. Now, we had this year some attendees who just attended, had no paper or nothing, Justice and Sonia. Could we have some reaction from you, Justin or Sonia? Anyone?
Yeah, Justin is there. Sonia, I think, hasn't joined for the session. I would request Justin to please share his experience.
Hi, my first conference being a part of this, and I'm actually in the same cohort with Shirley and Sarah and others, and I've written a case as well, and I intended to submit it, but my protagonist didn't sign off on getting it submitted, so I was unable to, but I still wanted to join, just from the standpoint of what Shirley said. I still wanted to join anyway, just to get my support, from Shirley and Sarah and James, and we had quite a few from our cohort that were presenting this weekend. So I don't know if I really have any feedback other than what she had already mentioned, as far as trying to stagger and watch everyone, because a lot of them were going on at the same time. But again, this is kind of my first conference of this type, so I'm very new to it, and so I don't really know if I have any good feedback to give as far as like what I think went well or what didn't go well, if that makes sense.
So Justin, thank you very much. I would expect surely that in the next conference, you will come with a paper, and we would help you writing that. You can contact any of us, and we shall surely really collaborate and develop your paper. Come with your paper next time.
Yeah, I would love to.
I think, you want to say something more, Justin?
Oh, no, I was saying, I agree. I would have loved to submitted mine, and I just couldn't get sign off from the protagonist to submit it. And
great.
So
Great.
next time I'll hopefully try and get a hopefully my protagonist will be more agreeable next time.
Great. Thank you very much, Justin. Now I would like to go to our collaborators who have been really helping us, who are at the back, and they are the real supporters and brain behind all this. So can I go to Hana or Vilivaiko?
Thank you, Professor Sahay. It's my pleasure to be participating once again, and this time in the virtual format. And like so many have already said, the organization has been really, really wonderful this year again. And I do wish to thank all the commenters, because I think all the comments that have been given so far are most valuable in thinking about the future ICMC, both in terms of growing the conference and in growing in terms of the quality of the conference. So I think that is really important. And I keep thinking that the true value of ICMC for the participants, I think it resides in the welcoming and encouraging atmosphere that everyone in BIMTech you are so great in creating that for us. And I'm trying to think how to leverage on that, and because I feel that that is the unique trademark of the conference, and if we can bring that into paper development and discussing our research ideas and bringing them into high quality publications, I think that is where the true potential for growth is for ICMC. So I think that is right now what I'm thinking and what my thoughts are. I really enjoy the forums for collective wisdom, and I do encourage us to think that how to create more of that format for the future conferences. And also, as a last thought, I'm thinking that if we have to do this next year again in a virtual format, or even if we are doing the physical meeting, but could we have virtual meetings sort of building up to the conference? And I guess that would help the people, like Mandy was saying, that it would be helpful to orient yourself towards the conference beforehand already. So maybe organize smaller meetings, if not throughout the year, but before the conference anyhow, or right after. It's really lovely to see you all, and yes, thank you. We cannot hear you, Professor Sahay.
Professor Sahay, you're on mute.
Okay, so we had the voice from midnight, from the land of midnight sun. Now let's have the voice from rising sun. Nishikawa-san.
Yeah. Okay. Since 2013, I've been coming over the ICMC conference in the era of Sardana, and so I'm happy to be here all the years in the past, and also this year is a first virtual meeting session. But I would say I enjoyed the virtual meeting. So, but to be honest, so I missed the connection, real connection to all of you, because it's a virtual world. So I cannot touch any of face of you on the screen. Just seeing. So here's my the last comment about this meeting. So sometimes I do curious things in my virtual class. Turn off your all faces on the Zoom meeting, and so share the fireplace YouTube video, and nobody can see, but the off mute setting, it's an interesting experience to give you, so everybody can say, but nobody can recognize who is speaking right now. So
I think we are able to.
It's an interesting experience. Yes, please. What I want to you is all the time we can create new imaginary, new creative, new additional value. Even we are in a COVID-19 restricted situation, but the idea coming out of my mind, coming out of our mind, gonna be unlimited. I hope we enjoy unlimited idea, compassion, and so in the future of ICM's conference. And this is my comment to you.
Thank you. Professor Nishikawa. We had our comment suggestion from one of our collaborators, the other University of South Florida. I'm not saying.
Matthew is there. Matthew Malarkey is there, Professor.
Okay. So Matthew, could we hear you, please?
Absolutely. Well, in these challenging times, I think once again, Vinu and team pulled off an amazing conference for all of the participants. I always admire the logistical coordination that goes into one of these conferences. And Vinu, you know, you're remarkable, and the whole team has been amazing, as always at Binte. I would say congratulations again to every one of the paper presenters. It's very competitive to get into this conference, and every year the competition gets higher and higher. And to our award winners, I am so proud of you. I am very, very pleased with the learning that I'm hearing from our participants, particularly my students at USF, who put so much time, effort, and energy to participating with you and being part of the conference. And then finally, I think of the reality, which is somehow, amazingly, this conference once again has continued to be a warm, opening, educational environment for the participants. And that's what brings me back. And that's what brings my students back. And frankly, that's what brings professionals back to this conference. So that warm, open exchange. The one thing I do wish we could do, because I miss you all desperately in person, I wish there was a way to replicate that fine dancing we had last year
That's
on our virtual conference, because I know I was amazing, and I know we were amazing together in those dances. So anyway, I certainly miss seeing you all and being there with you in person. But next year, I'm very hopeful.
Thank you. See Nishikawa already dancing on the stage. It can't be, you're right, it can't be so physical. But let me tell you, the rejection rates of paper is increasing year by year. And Professor Day is quite tough on that. So every participant really need to improve their paper for the next year. Otherwise, I mean, he is going to ask you revise, re-revise before he accepts. So we had probably comments from every section, and it's not what you see here in terms of coordination. Before that, I think year along, it is Venu Sharma, Shreya Mishra, Professor Day, Hana, Willie Vaiko, Sunil Mitas, Matthews. They have been doing all the things behind the scene. And before I hand over to Vinu, my thanks to each one of us, you, and especially those who took all these pains to organize, those who were behind scene. Over to you, Vinu. And
Thank you
with
so
a
much, sir.
request that we have already recorded, so I'm sure we shall take action on all those
Sure,
feedback
we
that
will,
we
sir.
have received.
Sure, we will. But I would also like to take the feedback of two more person in this session. One, we cannot ignore the students from our BIMTech also. As this year, two students from retail program has participated and won the award. And also the PGDM students of first year have well coordinated for this program. So I would like to first invite Swarnava to share his experience and later Mr. Sharath to share his experience, please. Swarnava, are you there on the screen? But you're not audible. By the time, Sharath, if you can share your experience.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for the opportunity to talk in front of so much highly talented people. It was so encouraging for me to take part in this organizing team and to have an valuable inputs from all the presenters. Like it was so happy to get in part with them and to see what feedbacks they get from their chairpersons. Like how my faculties and my seniors are getting the feedback from other persons. It was like very different uh, place to learn from everyone.
Okay, thank you so much, Sharath. Is that Swarnava, your mic is working now?
It was not working, so is it
Yes.
audible now?
Yeah, it's audible now. Please go ahead.
Okay, so thank you so much, ma'am, for the introduction. And last year I was want to mention that last year I was also in the organizing team, which has been there in physically. So we have worked there and got to know about the various modules and the conferences which they were holding, and we got to chance to see all those as well in front. So this time we have presented, we have worked on it, and it was a 3 months rigorous thing on working on the research paper. And I want to thank Dr. Pooja Mishra ma'am, who has mentored us, me and Devajit, for this paper, and thankfully we have won the award as well. So it was a wonderful experience sharing our experience and presenting the paper. It was indeed a nice experience. Thank you, my colleague Devajit as well. Actually, he's not here. And thank you, ICMC team, Vinu ma'am, and all my juniors as well for organizing such a great event. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Swarnava. Thanks a lot. I think as there are so many delegates also, those who are new to this conference and those who are the part of earlier too, but we have to take the time constraint also. Taking that, the feedback of everyone, those who have shared, we'll definitely work on that. Let me proceed to the next part of this session and would like to invite Dr. Shreya Mishra to share the process of certificate distribution for ICMC 2020.
Thank you, ma'am. Good evening, everyone. Those who have joined this conference for the first time may not have the idea about the warmth of this particular session. However, I must say it is almost the same. The only thing missing is the physical presence and the proximity. Okay, so since we can't physically distribute the certificates today, they will reach you soon along with the hard copies of your books. While this may take around 15 to 20 business days, your e-certificates will reach your inbox within a week. For any query with reference to the same is always welcome at the ICMC email address. Thank you, and over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Shreya. Before we close the session and go to the formal vote of thanks, first I would like to invite Professor Dey to share a few things with us. As he is present in this session, though he is not well, but I would like to invite him to share his views, please, sir.
Thank you very much, Vinu, and good evening to everyone. How can I be present in ICMC, 10th ICMC, without saying anything? So pardon my late entry. I wanted to share a few things few aspects which we have to ride together. First of all, I must thank the entire community. I call it community, not a network, because we really show concern and care for each other. So let this tribe of case writers grow. My second problem is that we also have a journal, case research journal, SAJ-BMC, and we have to cater to both ICMC as well as SAJ-BMC. If you know, teaching cases are not cited. So from last January onward, January 2020 onward, in our research journal, we have stopped taking teaching cases. Now the problem is that not many of us are fluent in first understanding what is a case study research and then writing one. Many a times we lose a chance of writing a very good case study research and we stop by writing a teaching case. So I have to carry as an editor, as a chairperson of CMCD, I have to cater to this need and carry most of our associates, most of our members, and bring them over to case study research. For this, ICMC caters to both teaching cases as well as case study research. So in ICMC, one can come and join and learn or take feedback on writing any of these two types of cases. If it is teaching case, it has to be submitted to either Case Center, UK, or you can, but for Case Center, UK, you have to have a good teaching note. In conference, we do not accept teaching note. So for those who wish to submit to IV or Case Center, such case repositories, you have to be prepared to write a good teaching note. The other two avenues for teaching cases could be AJMC of Lahore Business Institute and Emerald Emerging Market Case Studies. Both they accept teaching cases, but you have to follow their format, understand their format. So those who of you have written teaching cases and presented teaching cases, please get to know this and modify your case accordingly. Now coming to case study research, see, our submission is two stages. One, we invite abstract and we give detailed feedback on abstract and try to suggest that what kind of issues can be or phenomena can be probed or should be probed, and accordingly write. Many a times we find that authors, they do not value or they do not find value in our feedback, and they write whatever they had already thought of writing and submit it. So I have no problem on that. I am absolutely fine with that. But you have missed an opportunity of revising and bringing that case to a world-class level. So please be careful about what the world-class audience needs in terms of case study research, the phenomena to be studied, and all those things. Many a times people confuse that a teaching case which is good for teaching, for engaging students, for evaluating students, are also publication worthy. They are not, because the audiences are different. Audiences are, in one case it is a student, management student. The other case, accomplished case writers, accomplished faculties, accomplished professors. So you must understand what are you going to publish and do accordingly. The second point I wanted to share, that gone are the days when good publication journals, they associate with conferences like us, a case research conference, and allow us to publish special issues. Nobody is willing to allot special issue to conference publications. So we have a challenge, and this challenge we have opened up. That is why the South Asian Journal, which is our own, but their only case study research. So you have to understand the case study research and modify and do accordingly. Otherwise, please try for Case Center, for IV, for AJMC of LUMS, and Emerald Emerging Market Case Studies. These are all very good, reputed outlet, but you have to meet their requirement. Coming to thematic, see, I have been trying. We have been trying to do thematic cases. We have an apprehension, and that apprehension is that if we allow, if we announce the themes beforehand, and I don't believe in listing say 100 themes or 10 themes. That is not thematic. So if we select only 3-4 themes and announce with 3-4 themes, our submission of case proposals may come down. So we have to run the conference as well as we have to run the journal. So in order to strike a balance, what we do, we at the time of invitation, we do not allot themes. We do not announce themes. Let everyone submit their themes, their cases, and after receiving, after reviewing, then we try to thematically organize. Of course, it is not a very good process, but we are at a stage where this much we can handle. Now coming to the keynote speeches, I'm really thankful to both Arya and Mandy to really listen to our requirement. I have been telling them when we started dialogue, I have been telling them that we want academic lecture where some academic value, it's not only information, it is information with academic value. So both, I mean, when I received Arya's proposal, it was very nice. We liked it. And also we needed two, one for the keynote speech and the other one for the workshop. Both were good, very good. Mandy also, initially she was thinking of something else, but then when we suggested that why not this way or why not do something, then both the proposals came out very. I am really thankful for accommodating our request, being so senior and still listening to our request. To both of you, my thank you. Thank you very much. Over to you, Vinu.
Thank you so much, sir. Now, the last section of the session, I would like to invite Dr. Anupam Varma to please propose the formal vote of thanks for the ICMC 2020.
Sir, you are muted.
Respected Professor Arya Ropo, Professor Olivia Mandy O'Neill, our Director Dr. Chaturvedi, Dr. A. Sahay, Dr. A.K. Dey, distinguished delegates from far and wide, my faculty colleagues, respected guests, dear students. The main portion of ICMC 2020 running into 3 days has come to a close. It started with 2 extraordinary keynote addresses by Professor Arya Ropo and Professor Olivia Mandy O'Neill, setting the tone for the brilliant discussions subsequently at the conference in the following days. On second day, at the Forum of Collective Wisdom, there were serious presentations and discussions on innovation strategy and leadership, engagement and COVID-19, pandemic, social entrepreneurship and work life, and sustainable business processes. This was followed up today by 8 technical sessions on finance and innovation, marketing and stakeholders, business strategies, leadership, MSME and credit risk, HR practices, child consumer and COVID-19, business growth and competitions, pandemic, PMS and entrepreneurship, business transformation, and COVID-19. All these brainstorming sessions were, I am told, extremely good. Let me actually quote Dr. A.K. Dey's words. Absolutely world class, lot of new ideas, good interactions, positive frame of mind among participants, high level of camaraderie, all hallmarks of international conference. Many other delegates during their feedback session echoed similar views. We at BIMTech feel highly elated and encouraged by such high level of contributions by the delegates. This year, there were special situations because of the pandemic. Conducting the conference physically was out of question. Conducting it on virtual mode was a very formidable challenge. We could not, however, let go the opportunity in any case. Where there is a will, there is a way, is the old saying. At BIMTech, we are used to taking up the challenge. In keeping with our resolve, it was decided to hold the ICMC session in the virtual mode. Once decision was made, we went full steam to work out the plans. Details were worked out and implemented. The results are before you. Going by the feedback, we feel happy and satisfied with the success of this year's ICMC, the ICMC 2020. Some very useful suggestions have been made during the feedback session. For example, by various delegates like Gary Stockport, John Walsh, Arya Ropo, Mandy, Hana Letimaki, Kale Nishikawa, Matthew Mulaki, and some others also. Very useful suggestions have been made, and I'm sure Dr. Dey will take care of these suggestions that have been made. We have unfortunately not been able to host you physically this year. This being the virtual conference, we hope we'll have this opportunity next year. So on behalf of everyone here, I express our sincere gratitude to Professor Arya Ropo and Professor Olivia Mandy for their keynote speeches on very unconventional themes. These speeches highlighted many new aspects and were enormously liked by all of us here. Thank you, Professor Ropo and Professor O'Neill. I sincerely thank all the delegates from around the world for their support and consideration. For many of you, the timings would have been odd, but notwithstanding this discomfort, you logged in and participated. While it is difficult to name everyone, let me take the liberty of naming a few delegates and contributors for their continuous support and guidance. Professor Pispane, Professor University of Finland, Professor Sunil Mithas, world-class scholar and Professor University of South Florida, Professor Hannah Letimaki, Professor Innovation Management, University of Eastern Finland, Professor Matthew Monarche, Director of Doctor of Business Administration Program for University of South Florida, Muma College of Business. Thank you so much for your help, contributions, and blessings. We have a host of regular participants who have been participating in the proceedings of ICMC for many years. I hope this year also you like the cases presented, discussions held, and the values derived out of these discussions. It is heartening to see that there are many first-time participants as well. They are most welcome, and we hopefully will see them next year as well. I hope they have found their participation useful. Let me take the opportunity of congratulating all the winners of different awards. I do hope that they will continue to keep their interest alive in ICMC in future as well. I also thank the Case Center UK and the SAGE publications for their active contributions and involvement with ICMC and BIMTech. Our own faculty and staff have left no stone unturned in making this a grand success in the face of many odds in every capacity or the other. While our director, Dr. Chaturvedi, has been the main guiding force towards the conceptualization, planning, and execution, Dr. A. Sahay and Dr. A.K. Dey were the people behind the entire show. The entire nitty-gritties have been looked after by Professor Vinu Sharma, Shreya Mishra, and their team. They need to be specially congratulated. Support of our IT team has been great as ever. Seamless contribution by Dr. Kapil Garg and his team of Neeraj, Anand, and others really needs to be appreciated. There are many more who have contributed seamlessly and substantially in ensuring the conference a grand success. It is not possible to name everybody, but I sincerely thank all of them. I sincerely acknowledge their support. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for your kind words. Now we have reached to the end of the session, and on behalf of whole team, again, I would also like to thank each one of you who was a part of this conference for not just for 3 days only, but were with us since we made the announcement for ICMC 2022 dates even last year. So just a quick reminder and an announcement before we close today's session that I would like to remind all the ICMC delegates and the delegates on the screen that we are organizing second case master development workshop, and that is scheduled on 11th and 12th December. Although it's free for ICMC delegates, however, due to limited seats, we request you all to register through the Google form shared with you a few days back. And as I said, the seats are limited. We will be accommodating on first come, first serve basis. Thank you all. Thank you very much. Hope to see you all now again in a physical format in ICMC 2021. Good luck to each one of you, and thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The DBA program at USF, though, unfortunately, we have classes on the 11th and 12th, and they're all day long.
Okay.
So we'll see if we could get 2 computers going. We'll try. We'll figure it out. But thank you. This was an honor to be accepted. Yeah, I really appreciate it. And hopefully we can see you next year.
Yeah, sure. We would be looking forward to that too. Thank you so much. So with the permission of all, I think we should close the session today. Thanks once again, all of you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.